Could there be life on Kepler 22b? Will we ever find an exoplanet that is truly identical to Earth? 635 light-years from Earth lies a world covered by a boundless liquid ocean. No continents, no land, no shelter. A world where you could meet a truly horrifying end. It is one of the most fascinating exoplanets humanity has ever discovered. It seems to have everything needed to become a new Earth, yet its mysteries may turn it into a world far beyond even our wildest dreams or darkest nightmares. The Kepler Space Telescope was built with a single purpose: to observe a specific region of the Milky Way in search of planets beyond our solar system. This exoplanet hunter monitored hundreds of thousands of stars and discovered thousands of exoplanets during its mission. Kepler 22b was the first planet found within the habitable zone of a sun-like star, what scientists call an exoplanet. Detecting a world like Kepler 22b is usually far from easy. The overwhelming glare of the stars these planets orbit often hides them from a telescope's view. So, how did scientists solve that problem? Instead of looking directly at the planets, they studied the stars themselves to see whether anything unusual appeared. So, what do we actually know about Kepler 22b? It also orbits about 15% closer to its star than Earth does to the Sun. If Earth moved that close to our star, life here would be scorched. Kepler 22b, however, is fortunate to orbit a sun that is very similar to ours, though smaller and cooler. Its closer distance to that star allows the planet to receive nearly the same amount of sunlight that Earth gets. Astronomers once believed they might have found a safe refuge for humanity in the universe, a planet sitting perfectly within the ideal zone of a star system. But as measuring instruments peeled back each layer of technical data, the truth about Kepler 22b began to emerge, like something monstrous. A world that could pose a direct threat to every form of biology humans have ever known. The first source of terror comes from the planet's immense physical structure itself. Kepler 22b has a radius 2.5 times larger than Earth's. It's believed to be 36 times heavier than the planet humanity calls home. This immediately raises a deadly survival scenario. If Kepler 22b is made of solid rock, the gravity generated by that enormous mass would instantly crush the bones of any human who set foot on its surface. On the other hand, if its material density is lower, then humanity may be facing a vast abyss of toxic gases, or a world completely submerged beneath tens of thousands of kilometers of water under extreme pressure. The danger does not end with its enormous size. The orbital behavior of Kepler 22b pushes the mystery even further. It is locked to a G-type star, yet that star emits a colder level of heat than our Sun. This giant planet orbits so close to its parent star, about 15% closer than the safe benchmark between Earth and the Sun, that it is forced to complete a brutal orbit in just 290 days. And yet, despite being so dangerously close, the amount of radiation it receives is almost exactly the same as the radiation Earth gets. From that strange radiation balance came one detail that deeply shook the scientific community and opened the door to the most disturbing mystery of Kepler 22b, its surface temperature. Remote sensors suggest that temperatures there may remain stable between 15 degrees Celsius and 22 degrees Celsius. At that range, the molecular structure of water could remain fully liquid. It is an environment that appears to meet the most basic physical conditions for life to emerge. But that is exactly what makes it so haunting. With crushing gravity, with a massive atmosphere whose chemical composition remains unknown, the existence of liquid water could mean that an alien ecosystem is developing there right now. Humanity has no idea what kind of life forms may truly be moving, adapting, and evolving beneath those 22 degrees Celsius liquid waters, hundreds of light years away. The data profile of Kepler 22b is only a small fragment of the archive of deadly worlds. If you want to keep confronting the terrifying truths and uncovering the harshest limits of survival in the universe, hit subscribe to the channel right now. Do not miss the next discoveries. Scientists once announced Kepler 22b as a monumental discovery, but as its physical data was decoded in greater detail, a horrifying survival reality began to emerge before the eyes of space researchers. This planet possesses characteristics that could directly threaten human physiology, and the first of them is its brutal gravity. Because Kepler 22b is believed to have a mass 36 times greater than Earth's, its actual gravity may be pushed to roughly twice that of our planet, creating a direct mechanical burden on every biological system. A human body weighing 75 kilograms would instantly be pressed against the surface with the effective load of 150 kilograms. This sudden increase in weight would force the heart to pump at extreme intensity just to move blood against gravity, while the entire skeletal system would face the risk of severe strain or outright fracture. Plants brought from Earth could immediately collapse under their own weight. Following that mechanical threat, the planet's rotational behavior deepens the fear among climate researchers. Astronomical data suggests that Kepler 22b may rotate on its axis at an almost extreme tilt. This unusual physical state would drive the polar regions into an intense weather cycle. 145 days of continuous exposure to harsh radiation, immediately followed by 145 days submerged in complete darkness. That shift in radiation could cause surface temperatures to swing violently from near the boiling point of water to the freezing point. Any living organism could die almost instantly from thermal shock. A precisely balanced global ocean at least 50 meters deep to absorb and redistribute that temperature difference. And the destruction does not stop with its devastating temperature cycle. The true geology of Kepler 22b remains such a major unknown that it creates some of the deepest concern among space engineers. At present, humanity still has no confirmed knowledge of what this planet's surface is actually made of. If it is a gas planet, any landing craft would plunge freely through the atmosphere and be completely crushed by extreme pressure, forcing humanity to build permanently hovering stations with technology that does not yet exist. If the surface is covered entirely by water, survival would mean confining human life inside sealed metal habitats on the dark ocean floor. More frightening still, if the surface is solid rock, but wrapped in a dense greenhouse atmosphere, the trapped heat could incinerate any living organism almost instantly, leaving humanity with no choice but to deploy machinery to dig deep underground shelters far beneath the surface. The measured physical distance from our solar system to this planet is 635 light years. Scientists were stunned to calculate that, with today's aerospace technology, a spacecraft would need to travel continuously for millions of years. Even if humanity were somehow able to build an engine capable of reaching the extreme speed of 300,000 kilometers per second, anyone making the journey would still remain sealed inside the absolute vacuum of space for 635 years before ever reaching the planet's orbit. That span of travel, far beyond any biological lifespan, would force space medicine to rely on an extreme life preservation procedure. Biomedical researchers have proposed lowering the crew's body temperature to exactly 32 degrees Celsius. At that point, the metabolic system would be driven into a near-complete shutdown. Human survival would then depend entirely on external machinery. Medical tubes would be inserted directly into the veins and waste pathways, leaving the human body in one of the weakest and most death-prone physiological states in the entire history of medicine. Physical analysis suggests that Kepler 22b may have a mass 36 times greater than Earth's, producing gravity roughly twice as strong. The actual geology of Kepler 22b still contains unknown factors that could be instantly catastrophic, current observations cannot yet determine what the planet's surface is truly made of. If the crew were to wake after 6 centuries, only to face a giant mass of gas with no solid surface, or a rocky world overheated by a dense greenhouse atmosphere, their bodies could be crushed by pressure or burned alive by thermal radiation almost immediately. Many studies suggest that Kepler 22b may be covered by an ocean as deep as 50 meters. This enormous volume of liquid would absorb extreme thermal radiation and release heat continuously, creating a highly unusual climate, unlike anything ever recorded. To survive there, humanity would be forced to confine itself inside metal settlements submerged deep beneath the ocean. Water pressure would press directly against the hulls of these habitats, while the planet's permanently doubled gravity would add an unrelenting mechanical force capable of crushing mining equipment and collapsing the skeletal systems of anyone who dared to step outside that fragile cocoon of survival.